Now we know why, because it was never about bringing aid to Gazans, but it was all about the headlines and the social media followings.
If you don't know, and you probably don't, there has been a flotilla, that's these boats here, of boats that have been traveling from Europe to Israel in order to break Israel's blockade of aid to Gaza. There have been ships with humanitarian aid sitting near Gaza, unable to dock because of the Israeli blockade. The goal of the flotilla was ostensibly to bring humanitarian aid and to also break the embargo, to break the blockade. However, not everything is as it seems necessarily. So, in this story, we find out that there was no humanitarian aid on the vessels, the Samud flotilla, that was arrived and Israel intercepted as it neared Gaza late last week. Now, interestingly enough, most of the narrative has been around the horrible treatment that people on the flotilla have had at the hands of Israeli officials, including Greta Thunberg, who apparently was treated very poorly. That's, if you go to CNN and all this, everything, this is what you'll read. But this article was sent from World Israel News. Now, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this as a source, so I went hunting, as I always do, to kind of see who else is talking about this. I found this story in the Jerusalem Post. Not my favorite, because it's an Israeli publication, very pro-Israel sort of thing. Not my favorite, but better. However, what really clinched the deal was Al Jazeera. And it says here, Israeli forces have boarded and taken control of the Marionette, the final vessel headed towards Gaza as part of the global Samud Flotilla, GSF, one of the largest aid missions to attempt to break Israel's blockade of the enclave. The flotilla, made up of at least 44 civilian boats carrying some 500 activists, was first intercepted late on Wednesday, with boats boarded and volunteers detained and taken to Israel. By noon on Thursday, the military said all but one vessel had been secured. On Friday morning, a live stream video showed Israeli forces forcing their way on board the Polish-flagged Marionette, which reportedly has a crew of 6 and was the last remaining operational vessel of the flotilla. The flotilla organizers posted on X, Marionette, the last remaining boat of the global Samud flotilla, was intercepted at 10:29 a.m. local time, approximately 42.5 nautical miles from Gaza. Israel has enforced a blockade on Gaza since Hamas took control in 2007. Gaza's residents have largely been trapped in the Palestinian territory since then, with the entry of food, goods, and aid strictly controlled by Israel. It says here, Israel has intercepted all the vessels in the global Samud flotilla, a convoy carrying humanitarian aid to Gaza, organizers said.